He stood at the corner of a busy intersection in Cleveland, watching horses snort and stomp, wagons clatter by, and pedestrians dart across the road like startled deer. The noise was overwhelming, the danger worse. Every day someone came inches from death. And yet no one seemed to care, except for one man. Garrett Morgan didn't have a university degree. He wasn't a trained engineer. He was the son of formerly enslaved parents, born in Kentucky in 1877, a time and place where people like him were expected to fade. But Morgan never did. He had only an elementary school education. At age 14, he left home with barely more than a change of clothes and a dream, boarding a train to Cincinnati. In search of work, he swept floors. He repaired sewing machines. He watched. He listened. And slowly, in the hum of machinery and the scent of oil, he taught himself how things worked. How they broke, and more importantly, how they could be improved. Morgan didn't just want to survive in a country that had little room for black ambition. He wanted to invent, create, change lives. And that's exactly what he did. By the early 20th century, America was roaring into the age of the automobile. Cities like Cleveland were growing fast, their streets jammed.
All right, move it along.
Streets were jammed with carriages, bicycles, trolleys, and now gas-powered cars. There were no traffic lights, no real rules, just chaos. Pedestrians were being hit. Car crashes were common. Horses were skittish. Police officers tried to direct traffic manually, waving their arms like desperate conductors. One day, Morgan witnessed a terrible crash at a downtown Cleveland intersection. A collision between a car and a horse-drawn carriage. The woman in the car was unconscious. The horse panicked, throwing its rider. Screams rang out. Debris scattered. And as people rushed to help, Garrett Morgan stood silently, watching. Not with detachment, but with intention. Something had to change, and he believed he could change it. Morgan began to tinker. He imagined a device that could bring order to the chaos. A mechanical system that could signal drivers and pedestrians when to go, and critically, when to stop. Not just a red light or a green one. He envisioned a third position, an interim pause. A warning phase that would reduce accidents caused by sudden stops. It might sound obvious now, but at the time, it was revolutionary. In 1923, Garrett Morgan received a patent for his invention, a traffic signal that included a warning position, what we now know as the yellow light. His design used a T-shaped pole with mechanical arms. And signs that could be turned manually. It was simple, but it worked. Morgan sold the rights to General Electric for $40,000, a fortune at the time. But far more important than the money was the impact. His design laid the foundation for the modern three-position traffic light, saving countless lives across decades and continents. a man born just 12 years after the end of slavery had invented something that would become a symbol of global infrastructure. But Garrett Morgan's legacy doesn't end at the intersection. Just a few years earlier, in 1916, he had created another life-saving invention, a gas mask he called the safety hood. At first, white fire departments refused to even test it. Assuming a black man couldn't possibly design such a tool, so Morgan did something radical. He hired a white actor to pose as the inventor, while he demonstrated the device as an assistant. It worked, and in July of that year, when a tunnel exploded beneath Lake Erie, trapping dozens of workers in poisonous fumes, Garrett Morgan rushed to the scene, with his safety hood in hand. He didn't wait. He didn't hesitate. He went in. Morgan personally saved several men that day. But when the newspapers found out the hero was black, many refused to print his name. Instead of praise, he received silence. Instead of medals, rejection. His sales plummeted. Southern cities cancelled contracts. His invention, which had worked flawlessly under pressure, was suddenly treated with suspicion. But Morgan never stopped. He started a newspaper to give a voice to the black community in Cleveland. He opened a black-owned country club. He continued inventing. He advocated for civil rights. He pushed forward. Yet today, ask most people who invented the traffic light, and you'll hear the name Garrett Morgan far too rarely, if at all. It's easy to forget the names of those who build the systems we rely on. The quiet heroes, the ones history too often overlooks. Garrett Morgan wasn't just an inventor. He was a visionary, a man who stared into a fractured world and imagined something safer, something better. Not because it was profitable, but because it was right. He died in 1963 at the age of 86. By then, his inventions had saved thousands. But he lived in a country still fighting over whether he had the right to sit at the front of a bus. So, the next time you're at a traffic light, waiting for green, take a moment, look up, and remember, the rhythm of modern life, the stops, the pauses, the go-aheads, was first imagined by a man who wasn't supposed to matter. But he did, and he still does.